So I'm going to take you on a little journey here up the main line, and we're going to start at the classification yard. We're going to travel up the main line, and then we're going to turn around, we're going to come back, and then we'll end up back at the classification yard where I will classify the train that will no doubt have changed by the time we get back. So as you see with the train waybills system, I have no cars in my consist. So the first thing I need to do is pick up a train. So I'm at a classification yard. So what I would do is I would actually go to consists. And as you see, we've got various consists here parked in various tracks. We've got the Rockwood subdivision classification track. We've got the Horseshoe Falls classification track. We've got a departure track, which is the one we'll actually be taking. And I've got an overflow track as well, because we have a car limit on each one of these tracks, and any extras just go in the overflow track for being sorted out later. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this 10 car consist from the departure track. This has already been classified. This has actually come from the mainline classification track, and it's been put in the departure track ready for us to leave with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this consist, and as you see, I am now in control of those 10 cars. If I want to take a look at those 10 cars, what I can do is actually go to your consist. Now it's in my control, and I can actually see all the cars that are in my consist. As you see, we've got a variety of flat cars, box cars, gondolas for Walnut Ridge, and they're grouped in the location that they're going to be going. So Pine Meadows is this one car here. Pine Hill is these cars here. And then finally, we're going to go to Walnut Ridge, which are these cars here. So you can easily identify which cars are going where. So the first thing we have to do is we have to leave High Creek, and we do that, of course, by clicking on the navigation menu here. This obviously brings up the map for the layout. So what we're going to do is we're going to head up this main line. We're going to get to Walnut Ridge, and we're going to do a turn and come all the way back again. So we will be picking up eastbound cars on the way up, and we'll be picking up the westbound cars on the way back, and we'll return back to High Creek. As you see, High Creek is greyed out, which means it's where we currently are, and it's also underlined, which specifies that it is a classification yard. As you see, all the others are not underlined, and they're just switching locations. So what we're going to do is we're going to physically take our controller, and we will drive from High Creek with our consist of 10 up the main line until we arrive at Pine Meadows. When I arrive at Pine Meadows, I can take out my phone or my tablet, whatever device you're using, and you would click on Pine Meadows. So when I click that, what it's doing now is it's basically giving me a mini switch list for Pine Meadows. So as you see, there's only 4 cars. I'm not cluttered with lots of information. I've got 10 cars on board, but these 4 are the only ones that actually interest me. So it's given me 3 pickups to do at Pine Meadows and 1 set out. So if we have a look at this, the first pickup is a stock car that's currently located in the stock pens. It's full of livestock, and it's going to Pine Hill. Well, we're actually going to Pine Hill, so we can pick this car up. The next stock car is actually going to Rockwood subdivision, which is actually westbound, so we can leave this car here and pick it up as we return. Same with this marketplace car full of vegetables. That's also going to Rockwood, but it will be on our westbound. And obviously the one that we have on board, number 506 stock car, is currently empty, and that's obviously going to get delivered to the stock pens. So what we can do is we can pick up this 501 first, and that will definitely clear us a spot in the stock pens to be able to deliver ours. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our controller, and we're going to detach from our consist. Obviously this is physically on the layout. We're going to pull into the stock pens, and we're going to pull out stock car 501. We then pick that up and we add it to our consist. Once we've done that, we can clarify, or we can tell the system that we've done that by clicking the pickup button. And that's done. So that's now been added to our consist. As you see, it now says 11. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pull 506 from our consist, and we're going to deliver that to the stock pens. So we would actually physically take that car and we would drop it into the stock pens. Once we've completed that task, we can hit set out. And as you see, it's removed from our switch list here. Now these 2 cars, obviously, as I said, are the westbound ones. So now our operations at Pine Meadows are complete, and we can take our 10 cars further up the line. So what we're going to do is we're again going to drive to Pine Meadows to Pine Hill. At this point you can put your device away because you don't need it for the actual drive up there, which is kind of a nice thing about this digital waybill system, is that you don't have to physically carry the cards around or worry about the waybills themselves or anything like that. You can just put the device away and then forget about it. So we would drive up to Pine Hill. Once we arrive, again, we can take our device out. We click the navigation menu here, and we've arrived at Pine Hill. So we're going to click there. So as you see, Pine Hill's a bit busier. The switch list is slightly bigger, but still, it's nothing we can't handle. So we're going to have a quick look at what we have to do here. Now, we have a gondola here that's going to High Creek. Well, that's a westbound. That's in the grab loader. So we'll consider pulling that if we need to. As you see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars in the barge loading track. Well, the way this Pine Hill section is set up is that the barge loading track is emptied every time a train arrives, because the way the waybills are set up is it's on an immediate turnaround. So I know that these were set out on the last train that arrived, and we'll be taking them with us. Now, the only one we really need to take with us is Walnut Ridge. So as you can see, there are 5 cars in the barge loading track, and that's actually at capacity. So I'm going to have a quick look over here. Oh, we've got an off spot here. Now what that means is that's been sat there waiting to go into the grab loader. Well, as you well know, if we go back, we've actually got one coming out of the grab loader. So what we can do is, although this is a westbound, we can pull this out and we can make way for the other grab loader. So what I will do is I'll go into the grab loading track and I will pull gondola 903 out of the grab loader. Although it's a westbound train, we can sort that out later. So I'm actually going to pick that up. I now have it in my consist. So what I can do is go through my switch list. I've now made way for this car of coal going into the grab loader. Gondola 915, so you find that in the vicinity. It should be nearby. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab that. We're going to push it into the grab loader. Once we've done that, we can confirm we have moved it and it is now set out by clicking that. And as you see, it disappears from our switch list. Now, let's have a look at how many barge loading we have to do. So we've got 3 cars going into the barge loading track. We've got 1 for the brewery and 1 for the blacksmith. Well, the blacksmith's available, so I'm going to drop that one off first. So we go and take box 809 and we're going to drop it into the blacksmith track. It's carrying damaged tools. Once we've completed that, we can hit set out. Let's just have a quick look at our pickups again. Yeah, they're all barge loading, so we don't have to worry about anything else. Let's get rid of this brewery one first, because then that gets it out of the way. So we're going to push this boxcar 813 into the brewery track with some beer kegs. Once we've completed that, we can press set out. And as you see, our consist is now going down to 9. So now we have to deal with the barge loading. Well, we only need to put 3 in, and we've got 5 coming out. So there's plenty of room. The thing is, these are westbound ones, and we only have 1 eastbound one that we actually need to pull. So what we can do is just pull all of them out of the barge track. Okay? And that means we've got plenty of room to put the 3 that we need to drop out. So from our consist, we find 501 stock car with livestock. We put that in the barge track. Once we've completed that, we press set out. We've got a reefer, 123. Again, that's in the barge loading track, but this one's empty, so it's obviously going to be loaded when it gets there. So we can make that switch move, and we can set it out by pressing that. And then we've got a flat car, 428. This one is full of lumber, so that is going into barge loading as well. So we would switch that into the barge loading track, and once we've completed that, we press set out. And as you can see, our switch list is now complete. All of our jobs at Pine Hill are done. But if you remember earlier, when we emptied the barge track, we actually pulled a westbound car. Well, we don't want to take that eastbound with us. So what we can do is we can go into our driver menu, go to your consist, and you can find these cars, High Creek, are all grouped together. So we know that all these cars are actually going westbound. All these Walnut Ridge ones will be coming with us eastbound. So what we can do is we can take these cars, the flat car, 412, 414, 416, 418, and this gondola, and we can basically drop them at this location and pick them up when we come back. So we're going to do that. We're going to take 412 and we're going to drop it at the location. Now it doesn't have to be specifically anywhere because this is technically an off spot. We're just going to drop it somewhere where there's some room so we can then pick it up on our way back. So let's do that. There you go. So all we're left with now is all the cars going to Walnut Ridge. Now if I actually go back to our operations view, you can see that all the cars we've just dropped are now appearing as pickups, but they're just at location. There's no specific spot that they're at. So we'll leave those there and we'll collect them on the westbound. So let's again drive from Pine Hill and go up to Walnut Ridge. Again, we could put our device away. We can drive up the main line. And once we arrive at Walnut Ridge, we find it on the map and then we click Walnut Ridge. This is now giving us the switch list for Walnut Ridge. Now, as you see, we've got quite a bit of coal to drop off and one for the team track as well. So these are, just having a look through here, we've only actually got one to pick up from the coal tipple. That's fine. The coal tipple will handle all the traffic that we have. So what I'll do is I'll do my pickups first. I'll go into 923, find 923 gondola filled with coal, and I'm going to pick it up from the coal tipple. Now there's two tank cars in here that are obviously been loaded up. Oh, have been unloaded because they're returning empty to the classification yard. So we'll go in the car tank loading area and we'll pick these two up, 101 and 102. There you go. So we have them on our consist. Now all we have to do is basically get rid of all our gondolas into the coal tipple. So we can do that. And again, you'd take all the gondolas on your consist and drop them into the coal tipple. Now the coal tipple is actually made up of 3 tracks, so I can put it in any one of the 3. But on a waybill, it's just defined as coal tipple 1 industry. So I'll put all these into the coal tipple and confirm it by pressing set out on each one. Now all we have left is this boxcar, which is going into the team track, and it has air filters for the mine. So we would physically do that. We would drop this boxcar into the team track and confirm that we've set it out. We now have 3 cars in our consist, and we can confirm that by actually looking at it. And now we're going to do a turn and head back westbound. So again, we would drive westbound and arrive back at Pine Hill. When you arrive at Pine Hill, you would click the button, and again it's going to give you the switch list. We've got nothing to set out. Sometimes you can pick up cars from Walnut Ridge that need to be dropped at Pine Hill on the way back. This time we don't. So all we have to do is just pick up 412, 414, 416, 418 and 903, the ones that we left there, and we're ready to depart again. So again, we leave Pine Hill, we drive down the main line, and we arrive at Pine Meadows. We click the Pine Meadows button, and it's giving us a mini switch list. Now these are the ones that we left before for our westbound. We don't have anything to set out, so we're just going to do these 2 pickups. So we would go into the stock pens track where this is located and pull number 504 out of the stock pen track. Once we've done that, we just press pick up. It's now added to our consist. And the same with this marketplace containing vegetables. So we pick up this cream coloured reefer, number 124, from marketplace. And once we've done that, we can confirm by pressing pick up. That's now added to our consist. So that's everything done at Pine Meadows. We can now head westbound finally to our classification yard. So we're going to drive from Pine Meadows down the main line into the classification yard of High Creek. Once we arrive at High Creek, again, we would click that location. We've actually got one to drop off here, which is a which is a gondola that's going into coal loading. Now, because it's empty, what's going to happen is this coal loading is going to be used for the ash that comes out of the ash pan of the steam locomotives and get filled. But obviously, we don't need to know that. All we need to know is it's empty and it's going into the coal loading. So what we would do is we would switch that into the coal loading spot, set it out. Once we've done that, we can confirm by pressing that. It's now removed from our consist. Well, as you see, there's nothing else to do at High Creek. But remember, High Creek is a classification yard. So the cars that we actually have on board, in fact we can check it. The cars that we have on board are more than likely going to Rockwood. Most of them are. There's some Horseshoe Falls ones and a couple of Pine Hills which are going to go back up the main line. Now the reason why they're going back up the main line is these were returning empty. And what's happened is as we've arrived at High Creek, they've been given new waybills. So now they have new instructions to go back up the main line. So what we can do is we can classify these. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these two flat cars. Make sure you get the right ones. So we have to find 412 and 416 in our consist. And we're going to put those into the Rockwood subdivision track. So once we've done that, what we can do is click the classify button and confirm that we've put it in the classification Rockwood subtrack. It's done. And this one, that one's done. Okay, so we've got 3 more to put in the Rockwood subdivision. We've got this stock car 504 full of livestock. We can classify that and put it in the Rockwood subdivision track. You don't have to do this in order, by the way. Okay, so these ones are going to Horseshoe Falls. So you don't have to do it in order. We can actually classify that into the Horseshoe Falls classification track, which is there. And we can also classify 414 into the Horseshoe Falls classification track. These 2 Pine Hills, they're mainline, so we can classify those as well. 101 into the main and 102 into the main. If you have a consist that's left of just one area, like for instance these 2 are both Rockwood subdivision, I don't have to individually put them into the classification track. If you've got a lot of them, you can actually classify them all at once by doing this. You go to consists. These are all the consists in the classification yard, but as you see, this green one is your consist. Well, we know they're all for Rockwood, so what we can do is park the entire consist in the Rockwood subtrack. And as you see, it's joined all the others and it's now making a consist of 8 cars. So now what you would do is you would pick your new train to go out. For instance, if we were going to take the Rockwood subtrain, I could pull that entire consist out of that classification track and continue on my journey to Rockwood sub and do the same thing. So I hope this shown you how you can use train waybills to operate each location of your layout and treat each one like a mini switch list, but just for that location. And train waybills will take care of all the car positions. It will also take care of all the waybills that you've programmed into the system. I hope you enjoy it.